All right, Grand Rising, everyone. Is Shay Seeking, and I'm back. So, again, I was reading. Okay, now I'm going to tell you guys a little portion of a story here. Um, so, the other day, right, I told you guys I didn't have the internet for days. Again, these are funny things. Again, I'm just sharing with you guys some things that are happening in this battle or whatnot on the spiritual and physical realm. And again, this is not to, it's just me thinking out loud, right? So, I have been reading the Kebra nagast, right? And like I told you guys, I didn't have internet. They made me wait 4 days. Again, it's okay because I tried to go within a little bit more and just end up finding out we were spending more time with the children. Um, and it was okay. It was a little frustrating here and there because I couldn't post. I couldn't post videos. Nothing was loading. I have videos that are still loading from that day. I have to delete them off of YouTube. And then some of the videos I can't find them anymore. I knew I labeled them, but I might have accidentally deleted them. But that's not the case. That's not the point. Okay, that's not the point. Point is, I could swear I was sitting in there on the sofa, on the couch, right? When the cable guy came reading the Kebra Nagas. Now, I ended up, we'll just tell this story real quick. Let me try to breeze through it. Because I'm just telling you, it's just something funny. I just can't get it off my mind. It's just real funny. So, anyhow, we have to wait that long for them to come out. He comes out. I'm sitting there reading what I swear to be this book at that time. And I sat the book down on the couch. Now, or somewhere in the vicinity. Now, I did have to leave him because, again, I tried to go ahead and go down to the cable place and just go ahead and get, why do I keep saying cable? Internet place, and go ahead and just get a modem and swap it out myself and try to hook it up. But I wasn't successful at doing that. So we still had to wait the days until they could come and fix it. So all he really had to do was just connect the stuff to the TV and connect the stuff to a couple things, and he could leave. But he said, oh, well, let me go outside and check this. Well, I'm going to go have to do this and that to your box because nobody's opened it for a long time. And then I want to go up on your tower over here and I want to put this up here and do all this and that, And and then, I'm just if I can just use the back door. And I said, fine. So I let him leave the back door open and I went around the house. Okay, now later on this day, I cannot find my book. I looked around, I have a lot of clutter around right now because my daughter is moving out and she has some stuff sitting in one of the rooms and it was all over the place the other day. But the point is, it's not that much where these books, I keep them close to me. I keep them really, really close to me. Excuse me. So the fact that that book is missing is just really on my mind. Is really bugging me. So I went ahead and ordered another one with 1 day shipping. Even though I believe it was supposed to be here. No. It's still within 24 hours. It made it. It's not the same one and the print is really small, but hopefully, again, and it's funny because I feel like it's going to pop back up somewhere strange or it's just gone. That's just the two ways it is. But I feel like I lost time. Some of these matters are time sensitive. See, and this is where we have to really pay attention when we're in the scripture, when we're in the now, because some of these things are case sensitive and time sensitive. So if you get distracted or if something like that, like now my book is missing, I there was something in there that I needed to read. I feel like I needed to go over and meditate on, marinate on. And I wasn't able to do that. And it left a feeling for a couple of days, right? It's left a feeling there. But again, we're going to try to figure it out. We're going to try to figure it out. So today we're going to read about the pearl. Okay. Because again, we're trying to get more understanding on this. And there's power in the words in these texts. There's also sorcery. There's also deceit. There's also, there's all types of things that's going on in this word. You can't I just don't take it all for face value. You know, there's arguments, there's so much going on that it's just you just really have to have an ear, and use your eye, um, your mind's eye. I mean, you just got to be doing whatever you matter of fact doing whatever you want to do, whatever you do to take you there, to take you and get you more in tune and help you realize, wake, rise, and realize. That's what you do. Okay. But for me, there's many aspects. Okay. So let's just go ahead, and again, we're not in the Bible today, we're in the Kebra nagast, and we're going to go ahead and start reading about the pearl, because I'm very interested to know about this pearl, this choices pearl. Okay. Now it says, and Solomon lived for 11 years after Zion was taken away from him. Okay. So Zion is going to be taken away from Solomon. And then his heart turned aside from the love of God. Okay. He forgot his wisdom and spent his time among many women. He loved the daughters of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. Okay. Okay. I don't know. I'm seeing something here, but okay. Um yeah, his heart was turned aside from love, from the love of God. He forgot his wisdom and spent his time among many women. He loved the daughter of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, whose name was Makshra. Makshara. Solomon brought her into the house which he had made, and there, in the ceiling, were images of the sun, moon, and stars. The beams were made of brass, and the roof of silver. The stone walls were red and black, and brown and white and green. The floor was made of blocks of sapphire and sardius. There Solomon and his wife Makshara spent their time. Now the queen had idols, which her father had given her, and she knelt before them. And when Solomon saw her, he did not rebuke her. Now, again, this whole thing of, her being the queen or whatever of Egypt, right? So again, this is another, like, sometimes I like to go back into the basis of what we're talking about here, because again, this woman, she was coming out of Egypt, and so maybe he had some compassion towards her, because maybe it's not evil, but he just had compassion towards her because he knows where she's coming from. And so that's the thing of conquering nations in a sense, right? Because, she's going to be coming into a new territory and a new, and so again, I guess we are talking about even power here, you know, and I'm pretty sure some of these storylines were, tragic, but then they could have been made beautiful because of the soul or the person or people that are involved with making the transition a little bit more gentle on someone that they know would have gone through a traumatic experience. Um, so, yeah, let's keep going. This made God angry with him. Okay. Thus Solomon forgot his wisdom, and the children of Israel joined themselves to Solomon's wife in the service of idols. Solomon found pleasure in hearing the foolish service, and the queen spoke to him with honeyed words. Okay. Now, again, these words that she's speaking, that's honeyed. Okay. Because sometimes there's a time for, like, with women or with people in general. I know for me, there's a time for the lioness to roar. There's a time for that dragon to come out. And there's also a time when I am just, in company. And if we're in good company and we're talking about something, then why do we have to be, heightened? Why can't I just talk with this particular type of voice, right? A soothing voice. I'm reading something to you. I want you to enjoy it. I don't want to offend anyone. We're just reading something here and talking it over. So there's a different tone in my voice. There's all kind of tones up in here. There's all types of different attitudes, all types of everything. So, but we should not look at that as something that is wrong with a woman. It's something that comes with her. There are pieces to her. Okay. So again, this is just sometimes when I'm reading this stuff, it just, I think there's a time for a correction in a sense. A lot of people don't like what I say and how I say it, but it just is. Okay. So this is what this sounds like to me. All right. And okay. Apologies, my daughter paused it to talk to me about something. But what I'm trying to do is get us to have some type of a deeper understanding and compassion for some of these storylines before we end up in a time when this same thing will be happening again. The fear of women in our power these days. Again, I feel like it's going on regardless, but and it's a beautiful thing. So again, the narrative, I feel, can be adjusted or changed if we keep a close eye, tweaked, right? If we keep a close eye on things, and I'm not talking about I'm saying we should change the word of God, but again, these are words of people that were sent by God to write the book to give you. Do see? So again, I guess it depends on how you look at it. That some there translations and all these other things that happen, some things got lost in the sauce. Excuse me. So once you realize that, you can cross-examine this and see what's really going on here. Because we're just thinking like, oh, this King Solomon was the best. But what if in this sense, right? Okay. That he was who he was, and he was King Solomon, and that's it. But I don't know, because like I said, I haven't gone into the full on scale story of Solomon's life as well, which again, if it was, where, who wrote that, right? To know everything that he had gone through and everything before, and how he got to be king, or how his family bloodline got. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So sometimes when it comes to these women that were being swapped out, they were coming from different kingdoms that were sometimes being overrun, unfortunately, and the women were dispersed. Okay. So this is what I want to pay attention to a little bit today, and this is why we're digging in on the pearl. Because the pearl, I think universe, pearl, mama's pearl, the choice is pearl of God. So again, we won't get too deep on here, but you know what I'm talking about possibly. Okay. So again, this made God angry with him. And thus Solomon forgot his wisdom. And it's almost like even a sense of like me even repeating this right now. It's like I'm getting one of those senses or feelings of, again, But it's just something, yeah, it's just something that I feel like I just, you know, and do I have to? But I know that there's powers that be. I know that there's different layers and levels to this here on this plane, but I know that there's a connection to a source. And, I feel like, you know, one of those verses where it says there's no lying, like I'm not trying to manipulate. I'm just, again, I'm never here to tell you what it is or what it ain't. I'm simply sharing it, what it looks like to me. And yes, I do feel as though this is a form of a gift or something that has been bestowed upon, even though many may not be able to witness what some of us are doing with this text and with different with the land and matching things up and stuff. But it's something that was supposed to be done. Who knows, from now 50 years from now, everything could be flopped or switched, or we can actually get the true story or something that's closest to the truer story of the book, right? And it would be those of us that chose to go against the grain and walk down that road of, you know a lot of people, you can never go back, after that. But you felt a presence or a sense of something higher than you, a higher purpose, that is actually leading you, that is telling you to say that stuff. Just like, yeah, just like it says about Mary Magdalene, that all of the prophets were saying, oh, she talked too much. But they didn't know that Jesus was not, or Yeshua was not upset with that. He actually wanted her to do what she was doing. But the prophets, they show them as males. They didn't like it. Again, I feel like some of them were women. It's just my opinion. Um. Okay. So, anyways, let's keep going. All right. So again, the honeyed words. Okay. And with turning, um, of the face. I don't know what that means. Um, and with actions of this kind, she enticed him to the evil. Woo! It just went real quick from her just sharing some things with it becoming evil. See, and that's the presence that comes along with women that are standing in their own form of power that was given to them by their gods as well, or their god. Again, a lot of these women were connected to old kingdoms, but also taking in the presence and power of new kingdoms. Okay, so you know, it just sounds here, the evil of her work. Like, well, my goodness, what was she doing? What's so bad about her being herself? See, now this is what I don't understand about patriarchal matters. And maybe, it's not for me to understand, but it kind of is, because if it's going to trickle down, it's going to affect the world at the end of the day, then it is going to be a concern of mine if I have daughters. And if I have sons as well, right? That would be being oppressed as the woman, you know? Okay. So let's keep going. And the deep sea draws there. Okay, hold on one second. All right. So again, I don't know what other kind of words she's supposed to speak to her husband with, because what they show in these things with kings and everything like this, the wife, they want her to speak a certain way. And if she has a little bit too much umph in there, then she's called these names. It's almost like the same thing in society today. What you're called if you're confident or assertive or whatnot. So it's, again, it seems as though women should not be that way, but they also shouldn't be soft and whatnot, caring and loving. That will get you shunned. Or more geared towards, we say like, oh, about just like this in general. I'm just having general conversation right now about hair and makeup and things like that. But if someone restrains from that, you would look at the image of what they give you in religion of what the women look like, no makeup, kind of like how they looked in slavery in the Americas in the 1700s and things like this, right? Same type of attire, same time, huh? I think, I think it's the same time frame. I think we're talking time traveling. I think we're talking lots of different things that are going on. Okay. So if you think about it then, and then you think about natural women today, it's a beautiful thing. Everybody encourages it to a certain extent, but then, how many men really embrace that beauty? Over what we have been given the perception of beauty would be. Again, because beauty always starts within for me when I look at people. So, um, I don't know where I was going with that, but I'm just saying, because then when we do undress and we start to reveal our true selves and our true divine nature, it seems like it's a problem then. It's almost like I just wanted to see you there. I'm really not really embracing that. I'd rather go here, 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 and there. See? And then, because I think out of all the groups, again, this is not me putting division. This is how it was done. But I see we're moving out of that. But we have to look at the after. We have to look at that, make sure we don't go back into that. We have to define what the problem was in order for us to move forward. So anybody saying we can't go back and talk about things that may be mimicking those things right now today in a modernized way, that's a problem. That's how people err. Again. Okay. And so, that's what I'm saying. So, but there's more, I guess there's a more of a, you see it on like a newspaper, I mean, not newspaper, but magazine covers, people with natural hair and everything. So I really think it's not, they tried to make a big deal out of it a while back, but I don't think it's that much of a big deal anymore. But again, so that's all I'm saying. It's just being able to embrace it. So it's got to be a two-way thing, because again, if I look at it, how it would be, there is a lot of, competition. I'm even saying this for young women. There's a lot of competition when it comes to the so-called Black woman, the original woman, or origine women, because I think they're less likely to marry outside of their supposed race. Okay. And men outside of that supposed race don't normally go looking for women of American origin women all the time. They have all the different types of women. So if you see what I'm saying, I'm not trying to be any kind of way, any kind of racist, biased way. I'm just being very open about this conversation. So when you bring her back down to her natural and she removes all of that and it's not enough. I'm talking about body type. I'm talking about all these things and it's not enough, stretch marks and things, and then because I was just talking to someone about rejection the other day when it comes to men and what it does to them. So imagine what it does to a woman that's down to her raw self, being herself inside and out, being beautiful and shining and glowing and feeling herself in a certain manner, in a certain way. And then you go amongst your men and it's not enough. So I like to take these stories and go a little bit deeper in the biblical text because of that. Because there's no way you're going to get me to think that women should have been talked about like this, how they are in this text. Something's wrong here. So if you have a world of people thinking this way and seeing it that way, that religion and this false perception and narrative and notion that we have of this without looking deeper, that's going to be a problem. Because I see my sisters putting in work. You hear me? All kind of work. Pulling in all that. Okay? Ancestors, gods, universe, whatever you want to say, they pulling it all in and they glowing. And it's a beautiful thing. Out of everything, that's a beautiful thing. Even the men complimenting them. It's I don't know. I don't know. It's just something like I can feel these things. Yeah, can you feel it? Okay. So, I just want to make reference to this. And see, let me stop because I don't want to have y'all in here all day. I don't want to have you in here all day. So let's just go ahead and keep moving. I just hope you took something from because again, I'm just trying to, make people think, make us think, me too. Likewise, and just open up conversations about certain things that I feel like a lot of people don't focus on. Everybody wants to talk about and this is not me throwing nothing at nobody. This is just me saying that most things are what is trending. I don't like trend. I don't have anything against anybody that does trend, but I just, even if it's for whatever views or it doesn't, I would rather just be with my realists, right? So when something's trending, I don't even want to touch it because that's what they want you to be talking about. They don't want you to go any further than that. Okay. All right. So, okay. Enticing him to the evil of her work. Okay. So again, I don't know what it didn't really specify what the evils were. It's just saying that the work was evil, but there's no specification here as to what it was. And as the deep sea draws down into its depths, the man who cannot swim oh the man who could not swim, even so did that woman wish to submerge Solomon the king. She told him, "It is good to worship the gods like my father and all the kings of Egypt who were before my father." Oh my goodness, y'all. She want to be heard. Hold on one second. Okay. All right, okay. Yeah. Did that woman wish to submerge Solomon the king? She told him, "It is good to worship the gods like the Father." Okay. So again, teach his own. All I'm saying is, could this be the hijack? Could this be where? Could you imagine? I'm just saying, let's just look at it. Because a lot of foreigners that came here, or I even think of it in the sense of fallen angels that took the women, saw that they were beautiful. So I think of soldiers that went AWOL or things like that were sent here by a foreign place, and then they ended up getting with a woman, a native or Indian or whatever, throughout the whole test of time of this story. Okay. And then they take on their ways, and sometimes they don't even want to go back, or the people that were kidnapped by tribes or whatnot. And they didn't even want to go back to where they came from. They'd rather stay with the tribe. So um, again, this kind of reminds me of that. Okay. Because whoever sent them would be telling them, oh, these are evil people. Look what they do. This evil, evil, evil. But then once you get to know them, see, I forget what storyline I'm talking about. Oh, no, it's the book, The Spring, about Esther and Elijah. And then it talks about how, what was I thinking? Oh, man, I can't remember what part it was. Oh, that he thought that Black Hawk was a savage, or he looked at him as a savage. Um, I can't remember the man's name that he was fighting against that was going to shoot him. Um, but he didn't see him as a person at first. He saw him as a savage. So again, these people are trained, militant people that are trained to see groups as savage or a problem by the people they've been sent by. And then once they meet them, they find out that it's not the case at all. They fall in love with the women. They take the women. And do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, so just think about that in modern times and what we can compare that to. Okay? Even in the movie The Handmaid's Tale. Because again, it's good to move forward with everything, but if there's so many things going on and it's kind of somewhat chaotic right now, we have to have some type of foundation to stand on. And that means you have to know, you have to go back to the basics, and you have to go back to strip it down, just to see. Okay. So, okay. So anyways, Solomon answered her, they call gods the things which have been made by the hands of carpenters. Okay, so Joseph was a carpenter. And, he ended up, having his girl get inseminated or impregnated, or however they might have done it. Again, think about that in modern day. And being probed and things like that. I'm just bringing it up because all this information is here for us to use. So why be so narrow-minded? We know that there has to be something that came with this text when it comes to the biblical or religious text that did something to the minds of the people first, prior to them even putting you in any type of chain. The chains are really on the brain. The chains probably didn't even really ever be on your body. It was probably really, except for from moving from one location to another, the chain is really on the brain. And to see these things full circle is liberating. And it helps to build a further and a new, generation that's going to come up that needs to know these things, because they will be faced with those same types of things, and they will fail if they are not prepared. So it's kind of like the art of warfare, in a sense. So again, these women, you have to look at them as strong in a sense, because they've left from their place, came into a new place with new customs, new languages sometimes, and knew everything, and they were still strong enough and solid enough in themselves to still try and give a little bit of worship to their. So again, now I have to change my God. How can this be? How can this be? I just don't know. So so anyway, let's just keep going. All right. So the hands of a carpenter, a potter, a painter. Now these are all commoners, peasants and servants. These are worker class. An artist, I guess, because it says sculpture. Okay. These are not gods, but the work of the hands of man. Okay. And again, I can understand that. I can understand that when we're talking about some kind of like sculpture or statue or something like that. Okay. Matter of fact, I just ordered a couple, But then again, the people of that Egyptian heritage or culture would say that these things are going to bring you protection. See? And these are the things that were broken down and broken off. You see? These are the things that were broken down and broken off of those particular items, those ruins, the things that were. America has more ruins than probably any place in the world. Really. We're just not getting down in there because they don't really want you to see what is there. The old world. Okay? So again, these are not of God. These are the work of man's hands. Okay, so again, I can understand that. Like even in this day of purchasing something on Amazon instead of it being the actual thing that they were doing back then with their hands, with the hands of the earth, the mothers of the earth, or the origines, or the original people of that culture. Right? These are just things that they put some kind of stuff, some porcelain, or they put what is the other, plaster, or some other, I can't remember right now off the top, ceramic or something, and they mold it, and then they make a million of them and they sell them. Okay, there was no blood, sweat, and tears put into it, so I can see how it's not organic or whatnot. Okay, all right. So so yeah, how I was saying, um yeah, carpenters, potters, these are not gods, but the work of man's hands. So again, I okay, yeah, so these are the carpenters. Okay, so these would be the true people that make them, but it says these are not gods, but work of the man's hands. Okay, so again, maybe that's separating it from it being made from the artisans and then something that would be made from a factory, right? Which makes me think that we're talking about modern day now here. Okay, possibly. All right. You understand? Because that was so long ago, right? Okay. So it says, we worship the holy God of Israel and Our Lady, the holy and heavenly Zion, the tabernacle of the law of God. So this is saying that heavenly Zion, it excuse me, is the tabernacle. Wait, is this saying that? Again, someone just did something on this tabernacle earlier. And told me to look into it. So I guess, yeah, maybe I'll just go back in to start looking at tabernacles again. In a different sense, as not as like a location or a tent or something that was made like that, but maybe even in a spiritual or way. So anyways, the tabernacle of the law of God. But then again, written on your heart. See, and if you're dealing with someone that is heartless, they would not be able to have that written on their heart. They would be dealing with something else, and they wouldn't have the word written on their heart. And it may look like that's that, but I don't know. This is just me just looking at this in a different way here. But because again, he does, the creator, or okay, does write things on people or do things to their foreheads or their minds, right? To prepare them for something. Some of you still standing here today because you were already fine-tuned that way. You were tweaked or touched. Making me think about the Midas touch. So you were already touched. You were already formed before. And so then you go back into all of the other thing about the star system, star seeds, and all these other things. But again, we won't go there. Let's keep going. So could you imagine somebody telling you to put that down now after you've seen the power in all of these things being used? When they're talking about no, oh man, I be going here, y'all. Don't have me going here because I'm trying to be good. We're talking about in Revelations, I think it said no more, it just seems like just stop anything pleasurable. You see what I'm saying? So again, that seems like that may not be a natural thing. And think about where we're at today with society and sexuality and all of these things. That shouldn't be a big thing because again, it's nobody's business what somebody does behind their closed doors unless they're hurting a child. That's where I draw the line. I really don't care. And what you're doing in public affection from anyone in front of children is not cool to me. That's just my opinion. Whatever you do behind your closed door, that's your business. But it just seems like some of the things that are natural to us to keep a well-balanced family unit were like, don't do that, right? Taking away those things. And those things are, who wants to go through life without any type of pleasing something? Anything pleasurable? What kind of life? It would be miserable. So we seek pleasure in things and materialistic things and all these kind of things today. And again, if anybody does that, that's, because there can be a balance, like we just read in the Kebra Bible yesterday. There can be a balance. Nobody's saying that nobody should have anything. Yes, you should. If you work for that shit, then you need to have it. You want to have it, you should have it. And no, you don't have to give it to nobody else. You don't have to share, or you don't have to do anything like this. I mean, so this is just the way I think. What's yours is yours. And that's just how it is. But everybody doesn't have to want to be that way. And if they are, that's fine. But everybody doesn't have to want to strive for that. Some people want to strive for riches somewhere else. So then they would have to figure out how to make a lifestyle where they are going to be able to do that and still be able to live and eat. You hear a lot of people say that you can't, but you could. People could do a little bit better. I can do better. I may be a little bit late planting my seeds, but I'm about to go out here and put some more seeds in this thing. And, so I can try to grow some more stuff out here. So, it's just small steps. Small steps. But we're going off track, y'all. See, and this is what I'm saying. Let's go back. Let's go back, and I'm going to stop right here. I'm a couple more sentences, and we're going to just stop, okay? So, all right, law of God. And it says, your son has carried away your lady Zion. She answered, this son who springs from an alien people. Okay. Which God has not commanded you to marry. Okay. So again, this is talking about an alien people. So isn't it? Today we're talking, people would think you're talking Anunnaki on all these other groups and things like that. But again, just in my mind's eye, and just in my opinion, I feel like these people are not, if someone is coming here, they're not coming from outer space. They might be coming from the outer limits, meaning somewhere abroad on this plane, but in a different place that may not just be on your map because they just didn't put it on there because they didn't want you to know about it. And we could be circled, but if you like researching old maps, you'll notice that things look a little bit strange at some points in time. And even back then, how did they even know what anything looked like from above? So, I mean, it get a little bit once you start going in that direction. But, alien just means someone from another land or another place, right? So this could really necessarily probably just mean that these were foreigners. Right. Okay. That's what they would have called them. And if they came in here on ships and if they came here on different things, these people that were here would probably be looking at, not saying that they didn't have their own special aircrafts or whatever they had with their ancient technology, just saying they might be different than whoever came in. So you'd be looking at like, what is that? So I'm just saying, okay. But what it sounds like is that, Zion, she was supposed to be the choices, right? Okay. One of the choicest ladies. And she was taken away. And it said she answered, this son who springs from an alien people, which God has not commanded you to marry, your son's mother is an okay, your son's mother is an Ethiopian woman. Hmm. Which is not akin to your country. Mm, okay. Very well, Solomon answered. And aren't you of that race? Oh, and your kin, her kin, so their family. And aren't you all of you the children of Ham? Question mark. I always think Abraham. Because if you look at a lot of the things that have to do with Abraham Lincoln and Abraham and Buck, uh, even the towns and things like that, and when we're talking the founding and up Rockingham and all these different counties and stuff like that, and where people, I mean, it just anyway. Okay, the will of God has been performed. Um, they have her so that they may worship her. As for me, I will not worship your idols. Okay, so okay, so let's just stop there and we'll just do a part two.